tripod foot on the 500 PF just disconnected itself. So I've come out today to Gerald Cove State Park. It's only about 25 minutes from my house, which makes it really nice and convenient. And it's on a place called Harstein Island, which is a pretty low population area. So it's very quiet out here, which I love. And one of the things that I want to do while I'm out here today is try to find a spot that I can sit down and do some nature recording sounds. So of course I have my camera too. I plan to do a little bit of photography if I can spot something. But yeah, I'm gonna sit down and do some recordings. So that should be pretty cool. You can hear already just all kinds of bird life out here. And it's quiet, no cars, no boats, no airplanes, no nothing. It's fantastic. So a couple of days ago, I was out and just walking around looking for birds to photograph and things like that. And I always try to learn the calls of the birds if I can. And I heard something new, so I used a program called Merlin, which I love because you can take a recording of the sound and it'll actually identify the bird for you. But I was in an area that didn't have any cell phone reception, and it doesn't work without reception, and it won't even let you do it later unless there's a trick that I haven't figured out yet. So anyway, I took it home, and I even showed my dad and said, "Do you know what this is?" And he didn't recognize it either. So I'm out now and I heard the same sound, and it turns out that it comes from the cedar waxwing, which is a beautiful bird, and if you're familiar with it, it's almost painterly the way that it looks. So he's bouncing around on what I think is maybe a hawthorn tree, the red berries, and he's just loving them, totally going at these berries. So I'm gonna try to get some pictures and we'll see if I can go home with something today. But yeah, cedar waxwing, totally beautiful bird. I'm just stoked about this. So despite my best intentions, I can't quite get away from civilization ever, it seems. As soon as I got out here to a good spot, the park rangers must be pressure washing something because it's echoing through the whole forest right now. But I did hike a little bit away and down into a little bit of a draw, hoping that it would block some of the sound. So this is as good a place as any to try to make some recordings. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that set up. It's a beautiful area, and you can see that there's different environments for birds. You've got the big sword ferns over here, and then you've also got tall firs, cedars, more just enormous firs, and a lot of scrub brush down below, evergreen huckleberry and things like that. So it's a nice varied environment, so we should get different bird calls. I don't know if we'll be able to hear them over the sound of the pressure washer, but I might be able to do something in post-processing to try to fix that, so we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and set up right here on this log because it's important to have this kind of set so where it won't move, and I need to get to where I won't move because it'll pick up even just the rustling of clothes. Okay, it's all set up. Now I'm gonna go find a place to sit that I can be quiet and let this thing record some good sounds. most things photography related, nothing ever, hear that? Nothing ever really goes to plan, and not only has the pressure washing not stopped, but it's gotten louder. So I plan to actually come back here tomorrow morning early. My Z9, my Nikon Z9 came in the mail today, and I need to put it through its paces and check out the autofocus and get used to the new controls and everything like that. So this is a great place to do it because it's so close to home, and I know that there's birds here that I can photograph, and they're small, so it'll be tricky, which really helps me understand how the autofocus is going to work for me. So I will be coming out tomorrow morning, and I'm just going to try this again then, and hopefully I can beat the working crews, and the birds will probably be more active then too, because right now it's about 11 o'clock. So, you know, what are you gonna do? It happens. Whether you're trying to take pictures of something or trying to make sound recordings, it seems like 2 out of 3 times you're gonna run into some sort of trouble. But you still can't beat a day in the office out in the woods like this. This is great. So I'm just gonna sit here and kind of enjoy things, and even though I have to listen to the pressure washer, I'm just gonna keep an eye out for birds and maybe still do a little bit of photography, but the recordings are definitely not happening today. Oh well. Alright, another morning. And I'm at Gerald Cove State Park again with a really loud crow. And I'm here with the Nikon Z9. This is my first morning being able to shoot it and get to test it out and see how the autofocus works for me. So far, with just testing around the house, I'm very, very impressed with the animal tracking and eye tracking system. But I'm here today to do that. And then also, like I had mentioned before, I want to have some time to do some recordings of just the ambient sound of the forest. And yesterday didn't go so well, but today I think should go great because it's nice and early in the morning. There's nobody here. There's no traffic out on the roads, even though I'm pretty far from the road anyway. So we'll see how it goes. Stick around and hopefully we'll have some good stuff to show you. Well, this is fun. First day with the Z9, and I'm just walking down the path, and my tripod foot on the 500 PF just disconnected itself. And my Z9 is laying on the ground. My Atomos recorder broke off the connection. I'm gonna have to get a new one of those. It's still functional, so that's good. My lens hood is broken. Those aren't cheap. And it looks like the camera did okay though. This cage helped save it. Lens looks okay, a little dirty, but not a great way to start the day. But things happen, and as long as everything's working, then we'll survive the day. So let's hope the rest of it goes better than just now. Okay, well, I found a nice little spot to sit down and do some recording. It's not too far from where I was yesterday. Even though the sun's not really out, the birds are definitely out and getting their food and singing and everything, so that's great. I did look at my camera again just to make sure that I didn't have any damage that I didn't notice at first. I took the cage off, and it looks like I got really, really lucky. Man, I mean, it does say something about pro bodies being tough, and they are tough. I was really worried because the way it dropped, it landed lens first on the front of the lens hood, and so all the weight of the recorder, the cage, the camera was behind it and came down on top of it, and I was really worried that the coupling flange area where the lens connects to the camera would have gotten bent. But I looked at it, tested out with a couple of shots, it's still just tack sharp, so I think their lens hood did its job, and by breaking it really caused a lot of that energy to not be traveling up into the camera. Man, it just shows you got to be careful and always carry insurance.